Even in the abyss of the ocean, the Titanic holds secrets that continue to perplex us over a century later. Born out of an era of grandeur and opulence, the Titanic was the epitome of human ambition and technological prowess. Constructed over a 3-year period from 1909 to 1912, the Titanic was a marvel of its time. The ship's creators utilized the most advanced technology and materials available to them, crafting a vessel of unprecedented size and luxury. The Titanic was more than a ship. It was a symbol of human achievement, of progress, of a future filled with promise. The world watched with bated breath as she embarked on her maiden voyage, a beacon of hope in an age of optimism. The high expectations and fanfare surrounding the Titanic were testament to the awe it inspired, but alas, the Titanic was destined for a tragic end, despite its grandeur. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic embarked on what would be its maiden and final voyage. Setting sail from Southampton, the grandeur of Titanic was to grace the shores of New York City, marking a transatlantic journey that was as much about ambition as it was about adventure. The Titanic was a floating microcosm of the early 20th century society. Its passenger list was a diverse tapestry, ranging from the opulent elite enjoying the luxuries of first class to the hopeful immigrants in steerage dreaming of a new life in the land of opportunity. However, the dream was short-lived. 4 days into the voyage, on the night of April 14, 1912, an iceberg loomed out of the darkness. Despite the crew's best efforts, the iceberg grazed the ship's starboard side, sealing its fate. The Unsinkable Titanic was fatally wounded. In less than 3 hours, the world's greatest ship disappeared into the icy Atlantic waters. The Titanic's ill-fated voyage had come to a tragic end. The sinking of the Titanic was a disaster of epic proportions, but it wasn't merely a case of bad luck. A series of 6 errors conspired to bring down the unsinkable ship. Firstly, the Titanic was sailing at high speed, despite iceberg warnings. The decision to maintain this speed was a grave error, as it reduced the time for evasive maneuvers once the iceberg was sighted. Secondly, the Titanic was woefully unprepared for disaster, with lifeboats enough for barely half the passengers. This lack of foresight was a critical mistake that cost many lives. Thirdly, the failure to heed iceberg warnings from other ships was a vital misstep. These warnings were ignored, dismissed as unimportant. These weren't the only errors, but they were the most significant. Each decision, each ignored warning, and each underestimation of danger played a part in the disaster. Each mistake compounded the next, turning a potentially manageable situation into a devastating tragedy. The Titanic's story didn't end at the bottom of the Atlantic. The disaster reverberated around the globe, leading to an international outcry. It prompted sweeping changes in maritime safety laws, including the requirement for enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew, and the establishment of the International Ice Patrol to monitor iceberg threats. The Titanic's tale also sparked a deep, ongoing fascination, its memory preserved in countless books, films, and memorials. In 1985, the wreck was finally discovered, resting over 2 miles beneath the waves. This discovery rekindled debates about the preservation of the site. Should it be treated as a grave site, left undisturbed, or as a historical artifact to be explored and studied? Over a century later, the Titanic remains a haunting reminder of human hubris and the power of nature.